Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm so excited today to be bringing you a look at the Transformers Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing. There's been a lot of buzz about Blitzwing since he was announced and leaked, and various iterations have been seen in other reviews so far. However, he's now here in the UK in hand, particularly in my hand. So I wanted to rush this out to you. So here we have the box art to start with. So I'll just scope down that. This is one of the new, as I say, legacy figures, and it's entirely encased within the box. So there's no window through which we can see the interior and the figure and the accessories contained inside. So again, as with all the legacy figures, and indeed all of the War for Cybertron figures that came before, the artwork is absolutely beautiful, absolutely fantastic. And here on the front we can see the tank mode, which Blitzwing does come packaged as, and here we have him in his spectacular robot mode. Already looking far more agile than perhaps his Generation 1 counterpart. I can't speak for any counterparts that came subsequent to that. And at the top there we can see quite clearly his familiar jet mode in the package art as well. What else can I tell you for the packaging? Let's pull out slightly. So we do have, again, a nice close-up of the jet mode here on the package. Below that we have the tank mode again here. You can see in this tank mode it's got these strange appendages which some people thought might be energon fists, and more on those in a second. General chit chat around the front and the back. Reverse of the box gives us our obligatory product information. Nothing too new or previously unseen here, I don't think, from anyone's point of view. So the figures in context, there's jet mode, there's the tank with those strange attachments, basic tank mode, and Blitzwing with his fist extending things, more of which, as I say, we shall talk about shortly, or perhaps we won't. On this side of the box, as usual, there's some legacy artwork. We see drag strip and some others. So I'm not going to dwell on the box because the box is not why we are here. Although I shall be keeping it. So moving straight on to the main attraction. So let's line this up, shall we? Here he is, the main event himself. It's Blitzwing in his tank mode. Now, I had very few Decepticon figures as a child. Blitzwing, G1 Blitzwing, was one of them. So I'm familiar, very familiar, because I still have my G1 Blitzwing, with the design and layout of the original. So let's tackle the proverbial triple changing elephant in the room. There's a couple, I know. One is the big boost blasters at the back. And one is the prominent cockpit at the front. Both of them were features of the original toy. However, I think the original toy did manage to conceal them a bit more effectively than we are doing now. Now, this is direct from the box, so disappointingly you can actually see Blitzwing's face. I'm trying to not overly cause problems for myself, but you can actually see Blitzwing's face because he hasn't had his head turned around for the benefits of packaging. So that, I think, is a bit of a shame. The turret section does rotate really nicely, and you do get some posability in the main gun. Underneath we have, well, frankly, we have a combination of visible jet syndrome and visible robot mode with quite a few gaps. Now, I do appreciate with the triple changer there are some nuances around the engineering that does actually mean it's not going to be as fantastic as perhaps it can be. And you can see the detailing on the tracks is just that, so they don't operate as tracks, but then I don't think any of us really expected them to, and we do get these wheels here instead, which are quite freewheeling. If we instead look at some real positives here, the detailing on this thing is fantastic. So we've commented on the detailing of the tyre tracks there. They're really, really clear, really effective. You've got the individual wheels and the tyre tracks there. The body of the tank is really, really nicely done. You do have those familiar Blitzwing colours, the purple and the sort of sandstone effect. Even the cockpit is colorized in the same way. It's just a shame, and I get it, I do get it, that it doesn't just sort of slip back in. Even half a centimetre I think would make a world of difference, but it doesn't, so there we are. So again, looking at the detailing here, I'm keen to take it up top so you can see some of the detailing on the structure here. You can see the entry port there, cover, so that people can pop up and see how effective their fighting is. Nice Decepticon logo there on the turret. It's a very well detailed piece. It's quite solid. Some people have commented on the fact that does it feel like a leader class figure? Well, I've historically not been bogged down by the nuances of the classes, because I've just purchased the figures that I wanted to purchase, and not paid too much heed to the class designations. However, as increasingly the cost implications are linked more and more to the class designation, I can understand why some people would be frustrated if they felt leader class Blitzwing didn't really pack the punch that leader class figures do. That said, it's quite a hefty piece. It's certainly far more hefty than his Generation 1 counterpart, as one would probably expect. And I really like it. I really, really like it. Now, I've mentioned it comes with a variety of accessories, and we'll do that. We'll tackle those now, because they do all store on the tank. I'm not going to do that right now, because you can see numerous, and probably have seen numerous reviews of how people have demonstrated this, but there's a couple of things I want to pick up on. So here we have the two molds that are pretty identical laser rifles for Blitzwing to use. They can port on the various gaps we're afforded on the tank. Here is the sword that we've heard quite a bit about. Again, positive comment very much on the design and the moulding of this. Again, it comes with a port that will tab in well, should you wish it to. I love the paintwork on this, the purple handle and the very nice silver detailing on the blade. Now, a few people have reported back that it's a really bendy blade. That's not proving to be my experience. Yes, it's soft enough to not cause physical harm, but there's a real... it doesn't give very easily, so I was expecting it to be pretty spongy based on what some reviews had said, and maybe I've just got a slightly different model, but it really is quite solid. You know, I can flick it and there's no give. You know, it's not bending all over the place. And the packaging, it is packaged flat within some of the cardboard flaps within the box itself, so unless the box has been damaged quite considerably, it doesn't come bent, which again was another concern I think that some reviewers had. It was likely to come out of the box already bent out of shape. Not the case. Not the case at all. So I just wanted to give my perspective on that, because I'm aware that some people are minded that it could be a problem. Then we have these two things, and that's really all I can call them, because I don't know what they are. No one has yet really understood, that I've seen, what they are. They do come in the sort of hand or energon glove configuration. I've put them into this, and I would just say they were a swine to get into this. I found my taking the finger section, for want of a better phrase, off easy. Inserting it onto the peg inside here, not so easy, to the point where I then frightened myself that I'd broken it, because one really didn't want to go at all. then it really clicked very loudly, and I've had some preliminary trouble getting them back out again. So be mindful how you want to use these for display purposes, if indeed you do. This is the configuration for displaying on the tank, which I'm going to show in a second, where presumably it boosts firepower. I'm very aware that this is translucent plastic, therefore I'm very aware it could crack and stress very easily and show it. So yeah, this is kind of a heads up. If you're going to put them into this, and different figures may have very slightly different clearance issues, but mine are very snug, very tight, and I am already struggling to get them off the port that holds them in place. However, for the benefit of now, they are designed to tab, he says, onto the side here. Really hoping I'm not doing this ridiculously incorrectly. My belief is they're supposed to tab onto the side here anyway, if I've read it properly. I'm probably doing something hideously wrong, so I may have to come back and revisit this, but that was my understanding, that they port into there. But interestingly, that tab and this port don't seem to want to work together harmoniously, but that is, I believe, how they are supposed to put on. So that's interesting. So as I say, I've not done this before. It's literally fresh out of the box. Let's see if this side works any better. Apparently it does not. So it could well be me. That does suggest it's possibly me, and therefore not this at all. But certainly looking at the box art, that does seem to be where they're supposed to go. So I'm not completely sure why that's not working out. Anyway, I'll revisit that a bit later, and if I find out anything to the contrary, I will let you know. Anyway, I'm trying to not spend, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on each mode, because I know you've seen them loads of times before. This is really just to give you an indication of what he looks like up close and personal. So I shall now, wish me luck, make the first stage of his transformation from a triple changing tank into whatever the instructions tell me comes next. So hold your breath, and I'll be right back in a second. Okay, I'm back super quicker because I've managed to find the correct way of putting those on. It was very easy, actually, and it was entirely my own stupidity. So where they tab on, actually very easily, isn't this tab. My entire misreading of what I'd seen. Always read the instructions, folks. They tab on very well, actually. They're either side of the turret. There's a little clip there as well. And then you have them there, and they rotate with the turret to increase the level of firepower. I've also tabbed in the guns on the side as well. So yeah, entirely my stupidity. And those of you who were screaming at the screen, thank you very much. I heard you, I responded, and we've cleared that up. Okay, zipping back now to the scheduled programming of now having him in his next mode. Thanks again. And here we have Blitzwing all blitzed up into his rather dynamic robot mode. And again, if you are a fan of the G1 version, you will instantly recognize a lot of these toy features, from the metallic silver fins that helps provide balance on the feet, to the majority actually of this appearance of this particular character. It exudes Generation 1 with all the mobility that Generation 1 never had. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a spin, because there's some lovely angles we can get him at here, and some things I really want to point out, like all of this detail here that we wouldn't necessarily see because it's sort of back kibble, but it's there. It's molded in to give us some additional layers. Same on the other side there as well, you can see that. And he does, this backpack is a feature of the Generation 1 toy, and most definitely is something that we would noticeably probably have concerns about if we couldn't see it, because it would be very un-Generation 1-y. But I'm going to just pick him up and bring him over a bit closer to the camera. He has a fantastic face sculpt. I really love that, and of course he has the benefits of being his head being on a ball joint, so we can really exploit the posability of Blitzwing and his sort of condescending facial expression. In terms of the transformation, just as I let you take in some of that lovely detailing there, the silver, the red, the sort of traditional sandy beige, and the purple highlights. Again, you see that sword working really well there. There's the metallic inlays, metallic paint inlays on the main torso, the mixture of the yellow with the purple, which works, I think, beautifully. We have the leg details. I'm just going to spin him around. You can see some silver detail, Decepticon symboling that's going to come in later. The yellow piping on the legs, and we do have, of course, this whopping great big backpack, but it does compress quite well into his back. And you know what, these robots do have some significant back kibble. It's part of the, I want to say, charm, but it kind of is. It's kind of part of their charm. It's part of their Generation 1 design, is that this is what these guys look like. How was the transformation, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because for me it was a bit laborious. Some of the elements around the backpack, some of the tabs are not very straightforward, and it required a bit of manoeuvring. Now again, as I say, this is fresh out of the box, so it's very stiff, so that's a caveat that I do play with here. So I think the more I get used to it and the more transformations I do, the more confident and comfortable I will be with that. However, yeah, it wasn't fun because I was very conscious that I didn't want to snap or break anything. I am aware that some of the pieces are designed to come away in your hand if you have some difficulties. I am still not a fan of that, however. I don't look for that to happen. So I do tend to err on the side of caution because I have seen things snap. But yeah, I don't think that the illustrations on the instructions for Blitzwing are particularly effective. Some in the past have been fantastically effective, very, very clear and easy to follow. This was less so. There were some real elements of connect that in there, mind out for this when you untab it, that you don't get when you're looking at the figure in its entirety. But it is a beautiful figure, and I'm now going to take a few seconds, I hope, to transform it into jet mode. So I shall see you back here in a moment. And here we are with Blitzwing in his final mode, which is the jet plane. Now, again, we do immediately see a lot of kibble action here, but I was expecting it to be a bit more intrusive. It's not as intrusive for me as it appears, and also because I do quite a bit of toy photography, I'm able to mask it a bit. Now we'll cut straight to the chase. It's not great. It definitely is there hanging off the bottom of this figure like there's no tomorrow. It's a great big chunky underside, and it's frustrating because the G1 version of Blitzwing handled this really well. It handled it with, yes, the rotating turret was still at the base, but all the other aspects of it, it handled, I think, better than this iteration. That said, does it get in the way of me enjoying this iteration? It really doesn't, and I really like the detailing on this. So again, the majority of the detailing is, let's say, above the wings. So we've got I've opened these up to attach the strange hand things, but I will close them again now because having just tried them out, I don't think I'll be doing that now. So we've got the thrust at the back there. These very reminiscent of G1. The lovely silver on purple detailing with the yellow trim, more silver in the body and the yellow pulling out here. A faux nose section, you can see the rest of it's underneath there. very nicely playing into the original G1 aesthetic, but actually the engineering being slightly more complex, and some fabulous engineering around the legs. Those of you who've watched other Transformers videos know that I don't tend to do the actual transformations themselves on the video, purely because I like to take my time, I like to get it right, I like to explore it, and I think if I do that too much of that on the video, it takes too long, and you'll hear me swearing an awful lot, which you don't want. And I want to, you know, have that freedom to explore it. So that tends to be why I do it off camera. But again, the transformation from robot to jet was more fun than from tank to robot. Robot to jet was much easier, much more fun, and did share some traits with the G1 variation. However, it also had some really cool engineering, as I say, around the legs, around the chest. It's just a shame, and I do get it. I do get why the naysayers, for want of a better phrase, don't like this happening under here. It is a bit obvious. I mean, you can see an undercarriage that comes out there, and alas, you know, then the rest of it just sits there looking really odd. You almost just wish this bit could be edited out of being in vision, and then you've got that sort of sleek jet that you pretty much have, barring the turret, in Generation 1. So I don't know quite why they didn't apply some of that here, rather than having this sort of double-decker approach to the kibble. In fact, I think the robot version, the robot mode, handles the kibble better than the jet version, because it carries it off in the jet because it's proportionate to what the size and shape of the figure. But here it does stand out a mile. But again, you can angle it just right, and it's not so much of an ordeal. I've incorporated, as you can see here, the guns. I've attached those on the side there. Just lift that so you can get a sight. There are other pegs you can see where it might be attached, but I've gone for there. And again, as I just mentioned, you can open this up and attach the sort of energon thrust hand weapon things, and they connect in through a port that's concealed by those being sealed up. I'll probably take a photo or two with them attached, for the sake of demonstrating how they attach at the back, but I won't eat into your time here, because I'm aware you've already spent about 20 or so minutes with me, for which I'm eternally grateful. So overall thoughts, I think Blitzwing is a great figure. I think the robot mode is perhaps the standout mode for me, and the one I definitely think I'll keep him in. I think that the jet mode is pretty good. I think tank mode is better. I think from the top, jet mode is very strong. It's the kibble that lets it down. I think tank mode across the piece works. It's a shame that the cockpit area and the thrusters couldn't be slightly more integrated, given the evolution of our engineering, just to make it a little bit more well, transformable and fold upable into the main core of the body. I'm pretty sure that could have been done when I look at some of the other new figures that we've seen recently, and the ingenuity around that. So I think that's a shame. I think they could have invested a little bit more time, especially as this is a leader class figure. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing, but I can nevertheless say with some degree of confidence I'm happy with how this figure has turned out. And actually it's good in hand. It's very good to mess with in hand, and I'm sure some of my initial concerns that arose from manipulating him from tank mode into robot mode, now that I get it, now that I've done it once, it's going to be a lot easier. So I'm far less worried moving forwards. Although probably from a collecting point of view, I will be displaying him most of the time in robot mode, I would imagine. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds and what other figures come out, and what I might start doing with them in the future for toy photography, for example. Anyway, does Blitzwing... my teeth are now getting triple changed without my consent. So, does the Transformers Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing belong in your collection? I can't really answer that because there are various elements of this that are very much taking into account individual taste. For me, I can look beyond the kibble overall because I know that in robot mode it's not going to cause me too much grief, and it does represent a better, more articulated version of the G1 silhouette. So I'm more than happy with that. And the tank mode is fine, and the jet mode is okay from the right angles. So for me, it's a yes. For you, these are things you need to take into consideration, especially given the price point. So by all means, please, I mean this quite sincerely, take this video into consideration should you be looking to pick this up. I certainly wouldn't be looking to pay too much over the odds for it, so if you've missed an opportunity and the scalpers are offloading it on auction sites, I might be hesitant to do that, but I might scour other sites such as UK In Demand Toys, Kapow Toys, and possibly in the US Big Bad Toy Store, for example, and see if you can get a decent retail cost. Equally, some conventions may well be selling these at their toy lots, so it might be worth checking those out as well. You may get lucky. Hopefully this has given you some insight into whether or not Blitzwing is a figure you want to include in your collection, whether the answer is yes you do or no you absolutely do not. Hopefully you found this video useful and informative, and if that's the case, please do hit the like button down below. While there, why not subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video looking at Transformers or Star Trek or Doctor Who or Battlestar Galactica or Space 1999 or goodness knows what. There's lots of things out there that I'll be talking about and have already talked about, so you might want to peruse some of the existing playlists and see what's there. Anyway, just remains for me to thank you very much for staying with me for the last 20 or so minutes. Do stick around for some photos at the very end where you'll see it in action. You've been a fantastic audience. I've been the time-travelling toy collector, and this has been Transformers Legacy Leader Class Triple Changer Blitzwing, blasting at us from Generation 1 version as part of the Legacy multiverse. Thanks very much for your time. Take care, and I hope to see you in a future video not too soon from now. Take care, one to roll out, and remember, a thing of beauty really is a toy forever.